Hi guys, welcome to another lesson within the Algebra 1 playlist. This is lesson 4 and it's on substitution. Once again, if you've not done the previous lessons 1, 2 and 3, it might be best to go back and do them. We're doing lesson 4 today, substitution. Okay, let's get started. Okay, substitution means putting numbers in place of variables or letters to calculate the value of an expression. So you are replacing that variable with a number. So you're being told in these questions what the variable equals, and you're replacing that variable with that number. So let's have a look. Before we get started, just again a wee reminder from previous lessons. You know what it means when it says 2a. You know that 2a is simplified. It means 2 multiplied by a, and it's quite important, I think, to make that clear when you're doing substitution. People almost forget again what that means. So 2 lots of a, or 2a means 2 multiplied by a. So similarly, ab means a multiplied by b. 3ab means 3 multiplied by a multiplied by b. And a squared, you know what that means? A squared is the same as a multiplied by itself. So a multiplied by a. Just a wee reminder to keep that in mind when we're doing these doing substitution questions. Okay, next slide. So let's just start with some examples here. So when a equals 7, so that variable a has been given a value. A is equal to 7. What is the value of a? Add 3. So this a can be replaced with the number 7 because you're being told that a is equal to 7. So underneath it's nice to do a line of working. You can write, the a is the exact same as 7. So you can write a plus 3 is the same as 7 plus 3, which gives you an answer of 10. Next one, put a variable y here, and you've been told y is 15. So again, under the y, replace that. Y with 15, into 15 take away 12, which is 3. Final answer. Next one, b is equal to 17. So underneath the b, variable b, and we write 17. Subtract 5, which is 12. And the last one here on this slide, c is equal to negative 1. Again, I'm assuming you are relatively confident with your negative numbers. So we've got negative 1 and 8. And if you're really not sure, you can think of it in your head as 8 subtract 1, which is 7. Okay, I think substitution is pretty easy. Let's move on. So these questions here. So when r is equal to 36, what is the value of r subtract 11? So again, we replace r with 36, and you're going to subtract 11, which gives you an answer of 25. This one here, if h is negative 7 and k is 2, we're going to use 2 different variables in this question, but you're doing the exact same thing. So that h is under the h, and we write negative 7. You've got an add sign there, which is fine because the k is a positive 2. If you're on negative 7 and you add 2, you would then be on negative 5. Again, I'm assuming you're comfortable with your negative numbers. This one at the bottom here, we've got 3 different variables. We've got an r is equal to 9, s is equal to 6, and t is equal to 8. Again, you're just going to replace these variables with the number they stand for. Just don't get them mixed up. So t is 8, s is 6, and r is 9. So 8 add 6 is 14, and then take 9 away from it is 5. Okay, let's move on. Again, this is some more examples of substitution. Up at the top here, I've told you what A, B, C, and D are equal to, and you are just going to replace those variables with those numbers. So the first one here, My A is 2, my B is 3, my C is 5, and my D is 10, and you're going to add them together. So your answer is 20. This one here, we'll go down. Remember what 5a means. If you want to write 5 multiplied by a plus 4 multiplied by b first of all, then that's fine. And then you substitute in. So it's going to be 5 multiplied by 2, add 4 multiplied by 3. Now, again, remember your BODMAS rules. We'll talk about that maybe in the next slide. You need to do your multiplication before you would do your adding here. So I want to do this part and this part first before I add together. So 5 multiplied by 2 is 10, and we'll add 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So my answer is 22. AC, we talked about that at the beginning. We know AC is A multiplied by C. A is 2, C is 5. Your answer is 10. Again, here, if you want to write your AB out as A, oops. Sorry, I'll just clear that. Is it very clear there? There you go. So if you want to write this out, A multiplied by B first and then add on your D, there's 2 multiplied by 3, add on 10, which is 6, add 10, which is 16. 12b, which is 12 multiplied by b, which is 12 multiplied by 3, which is 36. BC, subtract a, so it's b multiplied by c, subtract a. So b is 3, c is 5, subtract your 2. 3 times 5 is 15, subtract your 2 is 30. Okay, hope you found them okay. Let's move on. Just some more, guys. Again, I've got my A, B, C, and D still up here on the right hand corner. So this first one here, this one here I'm doing, if I read, I've got D divided by B, remember it's in fraction form, but you're dividing, add on your A. So substitute in now, your D is 10, your B is 3, and I'm adding on 2. Now it's not going to give me a very nice number. I can change this first part, and again, don't want to get totally into fractions here. How many times does 3 fit into 10? So it goes in 3 whole times. With 1 left over. That remains over 3. So I've got 3 1/3. Add another 2. Those 2 are whole numbers. So it'll be 5 1/3. Okay. This one over here. Going over this way this time. A plus C divided by D. So your A is 2. Add your C, which is 5. All divided by that D, which is 10. So make sure you do the top part first. So 2 add 5 is 7 divided by your 10. And you can leave it like that in fraction form. If you wanted to write this out, the multiplication sign first, you can. So A multiplied by B multiplied by C, subtract 7 multiplied by D. Your A is 2, your B is 3, your C is 5, subtract 7 multiplied by D. So 2 times 3 is 6, times 5 is 30, subtract 7 times 10 is 70. We're going to negative numbers here. 30 take away 70 is negative 40. And this last one here, C squared, we know is C multiplied by C. And C up here, remember, represents 5. So it's going to be 5 multiplied by 5, which is 25. And that's your final answer. Let's move on. Okay, now down the side here, you'll see that I've got a big sign saying BIDMAS. Some people call it BODMAS, some people call it BIDMAS. It's just order, the order that you do things in math is very, very important. So your B stands for your brackets. Again, I'm assuming you know this. Your I stands for your indices or your powers. Your D stands for division, then multiplication, then adding, then subtracting. So your dividing and multiplying really have equal weighting. So if there was a question that there was a divide and a multiplication sign in it, you would just go from left to right in order. Again, with the add and subtract, it doesn't really matter with the add and subtraction. You can do whatever order, but you may as well, if it's easier, you can start from the left and go to the right. So just be aware of that again when you're doing substitution. So we know what to do. We've been told here my n, my variable, is equal to 3. So I'm going to replace that. So number 1, I've got 5 open brackets here. My n is equal to 3, so it'll be 3 plus 3. Now thinking about your BIDMAS, your board mass rules, you have to add what's inside the bracket first. And remember what's here. Remember what's in here. There's a little multiplication sign, so it's really 5 multiplied by 6. And the answer is 30. Okay. This one you're doing 4 multiplied by n squared, which is 4 multiplied by n multiplied by n, which is 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. So 4 multiplied by 3 is 12, then multiplied by another 3 is 36. Let's put the equal signs here. And then this last one here on this slide, we n plus 1 in bracket and then n plus 2 in bracket. So again, we'll replace this n with a 3. And replace this n with a 3. And then do the brackets 3, add 1 is 4. 3 add 2 is 5. And what's in the middle of the brackets? We don't write it as a multiplication sign there. So 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. Okay, that's the sum of that side. Let's move on. Okay, just kind of quick fire round. So if you want to pause this and do it yourself, because I'm just going to go over them quickly now. So please pause each of these slides. So if x is equal to 4, what's this answer here? So 4 add 5, the answer is 9. Next one. Please pause. So we've got 2 multiplied by x plus 3. So 2 multiplied by 5 plus 3. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. Okay, let's move on. X is 7 here, so we've got 25, subtract 3 times x, so 25, subtract 3, multiplied by 7. Your board mass, your BIDMAS rules, so 7 times 7, multiplied by 3 is 21. So your answer is 4. Okay, let's move on. X equals 9 here, so we've got 5. Replace that x with 9. 9 plus 3, you have to do what's in the bracket first. And remember there's a little multiplication sign here. So it's going to be 5 multiplied by 9, add 3 is 12. And 12 multiplied by 5 is 60. Move on. If x is 3, what is the answer here? So we'll replace this with 3. Place this with 3. And there's a multiplication sign in the middle of those two brackets. So 3 add 3 is 6. Multiplied by 3, subtract 2 is 1. And 6 multiplied by 1 is just 6. Okay, if x is equal to 3. Now be very careful, I kind of touched on this earlier. This really means 6 multiplied by x squared, which means 6 multiplied by x multiplied by x, which means 6 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. And 6 times 3 is 18. And 18 times 3 is 54. Okay, we flash one up in the next slide. It looks very like that. Please pause it and try it yourself. It looks very like it, but slight difference, if you can see why I've done that. Okay, so your x is 3 and you've got 6x all squared. So the last slide was 6x squared. That means the x is only squared. This one, when the brackets round, the 6 and the x, everything inside that bracket is squared. So inside the bracket, 6x means 6 multiplied by x, and we're going to square it. So 6 multiplied by 3, and we're going to square it. So 6 times 6 multiplied by 3 is 18, and 18 squared is 324. And that's my final answer. Very, very different from the previous answer. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, here's your exit question based on real life. To change the temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit, we use the formula F equals 9C divided by 5, add 32. Where C represents degrees Celsius and F represents Fahrenheit. What is the temperature in Fahrenheit if it is 20 degrees Celsius? I'm going to leave you with that to think about it. Send me a message with the answer, please. Good luck and thanks for listening.